This is SatTV with Thomas Driessche, the CEO of Newtec. Thomas, we're here at the Casbah conference in Singapore. You've just taken part in a major panel called The Way Ahead. What's your sort of vision for that way ahead?
Well, the way ahead is based on some absolute truth, which is, okay, consumers will, or people in general, will consume more data and do it in different places and different times, more and more. And that's kind of the absolute truth that we have to move in the satellite industry, being it catering to people that consume more data in difficult places like rural areas, villages, but also in the time where they're on a plane or on a boat. And we kind of believe that that's the role of satellite industry to bring that further, to compete somewhat with the terrestrial capabilities, and to keep on doing that and keep on evolving in doing that specifically.
And of course, that demand for data is only going to get much bigger when 5G comes around the corner.
Yeah, 5G is one of the solutions for the last mile, basically, and satellite has a big role in making sure that last mile is cost effective in all cases. So we know that in dense populated city areas, it will not be a satellite that's going to feed those 5G networks, but in rural areas, in many other applications, like the mobile applications on planes or boats that we mentioned, where you also want to use 5G, by the way, that will have a satellite component to it. Also, there's other things. Newtec is building wireless codes for 5G chipsets and things like that. So the experience of satellite efficiency in coding, in doing spectral efficiency in bits per hertz is also getting into the terrestrial market more and more because they want to have more throughput and more efficiency. So Newtec is also taking part of that. Next to that, I see a big role for satellite in feeding the 5G networks, and I specifically mentioned at the panel that the large component of IP data is going to be, well, it's video, it's not data. So we think about 70%, up to 90% of it is actually video, and satellite has a historical role and has been through all of the evolutions in how to push video in a distributed network, also to content distribution networks for 5G and so on. So we'll have a role in that as well, and that's where satellite needs to take the opportunity in 5G.
Now, Newtec continues to grow internationally. We're here in Asia, and you've just announced a new contract in Myanmar. What would you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, looking back at what we just discussed, the current market in Myanmar and is it was the opening of the telecom infrastructure and so 4G basically and what we call LTE is the current market, and it's still a very fast growing market globally. So Myanmar is one of those countries where that specifically has grown tremendously since they opened up that telecommunication industry. So what we're doing in Myanmar basically is specifically LTE access and Wi-Fi hotspots and those type of things. But so that's a good example of where there is growth in the satellite industry. Yeah.
Thomas, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you so much for having me.